Good afternoon. This is the Oxford Downtown Diaries. I think I got that out smoothly today.
You got it right today.
I did.
We're the dynamic duo. Now I'll screw up for you.
I passed it on.
Kelly Westbrook, Kimberly Smith, we're excited to have another committee member on with us this week.
Yes.
So we had to pre-record this one because I'll be at the national conference down in Alabama. But we're excited today to have Scott Cree with us.
Yes.
Scott Cree is just so many levels of things.
Oh, he's so much fun. He's like an onion. We unpeel a layer every time we meet him. But he works for Oakland County. He's the chair of our design committee. He is a stellar volunteer, and he makes us laugh. So we like him. We'll keep him around.
We'll keep him around. Hi, Scott Cree.
Hello, ladies. Thanks for having me to the show.
Oh, that was a great radio voice there.
That was pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, I get that from my brother. He's a news broadcast.
Is he really?
Anchorman.
Oh, no kidding.
Maybe you missed your calling.
Probably not.
Probably not. Okay.
They could be the dynamic duo, too.
There you go. What is your calling? Because now you work for Oakland County as a planner, which I don't feel like I still know exactly what that means. But you have a diverse background, architecture, and things of that. So tell us, who is Scott Cree?
All right. So I was born. No, just
Not that far
yeah,
back.
not that far.
Let's get the
Yeah, I
Cliff
was.
Notes
I was
version.
actually. I wanted to be an architect ever since I was in third grade. I drew the Empire State Building in pencil and detailed all the windows and stuff. And my parents were like, "You should be an architect." And then started exploring like Frank Lloyd Wright and Yamasaki and Saarinen and all that stuff. And I got into Lawrence Tech. And but then I became a planner because I found planning while I was at school.
Oh.
So it was part of our integrated design studio. It was the fourth integrated design studio, and I was taking night classes and also working at an architecture firm at the time out in Brighton called Lindhout Associates. I was there for about 14 years before becoming a planning consultant. I was a planning consultant for a number of years. I had like 15 different clients, small villages and townships mostly in mid to eastern Michigan. I worked with Rowe. And then I left there and came to the county to be the county planner. I've been at the county for 7 or 8 years. So my job right now, it's gotten less and less exciting, I guess, as life gets.
Is that
up.
because you're used to it or why?
No. Well, obviously there was a whole design element with the architecture thing. Especially when I was at that firm at Lindhout, and they were great because I was there for a number of years, and I got to like run a couple projects. I got the design stuff that actually got implemented. Had meetings with, basically people that wanted to build stuff. We had schematic designs and stuff that they would sign off on, so you would actually get to see it from paper to present of how a design would really evolve. And that was part of my some of the hard things I had to deal with when I was going through Lawrence Tech, because a lot of it was theory and I was already working in the real world. So I had a huge issue with that, because that's not how we would have professors.
That's not how it works.
Yeah, we'd have a professor that would crumple up a ball of paper. He's like, design this. And, he'd wear a beret. And it's like, I'm like, and there was like no budget, and that's just not how the world really works. And I also saw a bunch of stuff when I was at our firm get value engineered out just because it was too expensive. And that's also part of that.
And now you have to work with the DDA in our budget, which
Yeah.
is
Zero.
I mean, next to nothing. So
And that was the unique thing, like making that transition from architecture to planning. And obviously I did that in school. I went from Lawrence Tech to Eastern and then graduated from Eastern. And that worked out well for me, because if you can't beat them, join them. So I do know where the developer and the client or the property owner is coming from, and then I understand zoning laws and restrictions and stuff like that, and how to make those more comparable to people that want to get the job done. So
no wonder you wanted to join the design committee and have fun again, right?
Yeah.
I mean, design committee is fun.
It is, for sure. Yeah, I think, yeah. Fun is where you make it.
yeah.
That's right. So we've done some crazy projects since you've become chair. Do you want to talk about some of those?
Yeah, sure. I mean, some of them, were already in the works. And what I like to say is that Kelly has an idea, and then she kind of brings it to us, and then we figure it out. Within the restraints of the
This is the
budget
same thing
and
Kimberly says
and the
too.
real, yep, and the real world. Like, there's no pixie dust. So you gotta. But no, it's been
It's called the
fun.
Dollar Tree.
Obviously, my history of working at an architecture firm and working with the city of Brighton and all their DDA stuff. I worked very closely with the late Matt Modrak, and that basically taught me a lot, and I was able to basically utilize those skills. And I like that because I do have a creative side that I don't really get to utilize as much anymore in my day-to-day work. I write a lot of stuff that no one reads.
No
But
poetry or anything?
no,
Oh,
no.
okay.
Yeah, I
But,
wasn't sure where you were
Break
going with
open
that.
Scott's
Yeah.
diary.
no. I mean, I could be sitting on a stool.
Yeah, with
Yeah,
your
yeah.
beret.
Snap.
Yeah.
No,
Oh.
I do bring some different ideas into the design committee, and usually it's me texting Scott first and saying, "Hey, is this even possible?"
Yeah.
I usually get a no right off the bat, and
No,
then
That's his
you know.
default.
it's true. But then, he figures it out. I mean, we were
Yeah.
building scarecrow posts
I
this
was
past
just
fall.
thinking about, yes, that was instrumental in helping us.
But you
this
designed
year.
them,
Yeah.
and it really was such a great thing for the community because come to find out, the business owners wanted to decorate and make scarecrows every year, but they didn't have a way to stabilize them, especially on an M24. So you figured out a design. You taught us how to use tools.
Yeah, and that was fun. I'm glad to be able to use those for years to come. Some people kind of made them their own too.
Yeah.
I noticed that some
They made some modifications.
arms were missing.
Yeah.
Ones on
Yeah.
wheels, like
Yeah.
roller skates or something. No,
They are
it's
heavy.
yeah, it's good. I'm glad I can help. The funny thing is that my wife actually found this on the mom chatter or something on Facebook that you were looking for an opening, which is odd because I worked with you guys before that, but I'm always just the guy at the county who's helping out the Main Street
You were
team.
the guy at the county. The funny thing
Mhm.
is guy at the county walked into my office like 3 years
That's
ago
Right.
from the restaurant grants that we were doing, and you were dropping off sanitizer, I
Yeah.
think. And you're like, "Hey, I'm Scott Cree." I'm like, "Cool," because I had no idea who you were. And then, lo and behold, 3 years later, you're on our
Mhm.
design committee and now chairing it.
Yeah.
So I've been having fun. We have a really good group.
We have a big group
It's
in
a
the
design.
one the one
group,
thing I like,
yeah.
the one thing I like about design committee is you got the before and after, you got the work up to it, and then there's usually an outcome of some sort of substance that
Yeah.
you've created as a team. And we have a diverse background of people that are on that committee that I really appreciate. And for the most part, everyone makes it to the meetings. They have input.
That's
And
because
I
you
like
send
it.
out emails, very long emails that tell them to show up.
And you do well,
And
we
notes.
Yeah, we talked about this in our last podcast with Ashley around the structure of the meeting. And just, I kind of sit in more so now because we have the space in our office to be able to host some of these committee meetings.
Mhm.
But what I have seen from an evolution standpoint is the structure and the organization of the design committee has really taken off. And so I think that helps people want to be at the meetings and want to give their input and want to be part of something when it's, well oiled in that way. So thank you for your contributions
yeah.
in that area. The meeting minutes, the notes, the agenda, the emails, the communication, you're very, very good with that kind of stuff.
Are you type A at all?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I mean,
I was just asking.
I mean, I don't know. I guess it's all in the eye of the beholder. I mean, I'm an out. I like people. That's my thing. Like, and especially where I work, like it's very quiet, and I'm the guy that walks around and says hi to everyone, and I like that. Now, some people don't like that,
Yeah.
and those are people I don't say hi to. You figure that out from the beginning, and plus,
Very
I like to
quickly.
make people laugh. I mean, we're only on this earth for a short time, so I might as
Yeah.
well make the most of it.
So
And
where is design committee going? So we've gotten a
Oh.
ton of projects done this year.
mhm,
Can we break into ARPA funding because you get it and you understand it and you've helped us
I
a
don't know
lot?
if I get it, but yeah,
Did
we
you
have.
just air quotes me?
Yeah, I did. I did. So I mean, design committee. We have a lot of things that are going on. Obviously, Washington Square is always something that we like to keep on the button. We're always looking for other things to do there, especially with the acoustics and trying to make it a space that can be versatile no matter what's going on in it. So we have some things in the works, which I don't know. Am I allowed to talk to? I mean,
Yeah,
I don't
talk
know
about
if.
it. Yeah, for
Okay,
sure.
so we have like some rolling planters and stuff that we're going to be having built for us, and then some greenery that will have basically add acoustic values to that space. Right now, we have, especially with traffic coming in from the north, the sound just reverberates off the walls. It's a great space, but if we can do anything to help with the acoustics in that area, that's always helpful. But also, Washington Square is funny because it kind of sells itself because it is open to M24 or Washington, and so people are always not that it's an issue. I mean, they're usually sitting at a traffic light, but they're kind of rubbernecking. Like they want to know what's going on in there, and obviously with Tossin Tuesdays and
Our
the
cornhole
square
league is coming.
and the square dancing, and
Scott's very excited about the Cornhole League.
so excited. But that's good. I mean, you have something going on every day. You got the old car show. So just as long as we can make that space as comfortable as possible and versatile as possible, and that's we've been leaning towards that a lot. Um,
Yeah, you brought in a lot of influence, I think, on the new planters and things of that nature because we just didn't know where to go from a sound perspective in the square. We still don't own the lot, so things have to be movable and ever changeable. And so I think that your idea of having these there, I think it's going to make a big difference. And we found somebody local to build them, and we'll have volunteers out. When's our next spring cleanup?
24th, I believe.
24th of May.
24th.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's when we'll plant in them and set them out. So I think
Yeah.
they're going to be a big deal out there.
yeah, and I was, and this past winter, well, between the Scarecrow Fest and Christmas, we were able to get that truck out
Mhm.
there.
Talk about the
Which
truck. I have a deep love for the truck.
So this was one of those. I mean, usually Kelly or Kimberly will float an idea, but I had this idea because we go out to Upland Hills all the time as a family, and we always take a picture on this wagon with all these mums on it. And I'm like, it'd be neat if we had something like that in the square, and maybe like an old truck. And then Kelly just took it and ran with it. She's
She made it happen.
apparently she
I found a truck.
she found a truck and was able to get it out there, and the owner was very nice and let us keep it through past. We were just going to have it for fall, but then we were able, we made the recommendation if we could keep it through Christmas
Yeah.
and throw some Christmas trees on it and put a fake Santa in it or something like that. But it worked out
It was
really
cool.
well. We had, I don't know how many Christmas cards. I think we got a handful of Christmas cards of people this year that had
Very
their pictures
cool.
taken in front of that. So that was nice.
So the next item for the design committee is the wind in Washington Square. I think
I
we
don't
need
know.
to-
He's not God. He can't control that. Sorry.
This is true.
Well, I don't know if he knows that.
Yeah, so technically the sound barrier hedges that we're doing, those can cut down on some
That'll
of the width.
help.
That will
Okay.
help. Especially if we also have some up against the wall. So
Yeah.
we're starting out small just because of our budget, and seeing if it works, and if we get more, that's great. We can
Yeah.
put some on the wall and then still create them as barriers and kind of make that space a little bit private or whatever, depending on the need. And that in itself could cut down on the wind, but it is also in true fashion of a DDA design board, it's trial and error.
Yeah.
Like, we don't know. I mean, even the activities you have for the kids, like the cornhole and stuff like that, like some of that stuff hasn't even been able to last a year just because people are hard on stuff.
Yeah. And the
And
weather too,
yeah,
Michigan weather.
and people don't put stuff away, and it's
Yeah.
not theirs. And
We talk about this all the time.
Mm-hmm.
so and we take, the design committee, we try to take that into account. I designed a lot of stuff in the public realm, and so you just want to make it like tamper proof. There's only 3 bad kids in Oxford, as I always
That's
say in our
right.
meeting.
It's only 3.
There's only 3 bad kids, and they like to mess with everything.
Yeah.
And so if you can find a way to deter them from doing that, whether it's hiding fasteners or making things so they aren't movable or able to mess up an area, we'll get better and better at how we do that. We're also looking at walkability and the design committee right now, so we're trying
Oh,
to get
that's a
some.
good one to talk about.
Yeah, we're trying to get some mid-block crossings. I did a sketch about a month ago, maybe, because all of our on Burdick, on both East Burdick and West Burdick, we do have a lot of pedestrian traffic behind the buildings off of M24, largely because that's where our parking lots are. And so if we can get people to cross safely at the entrances to those parking lots or at Hudson Street, we're going to try to do that. There is some engineering feats that we have to overcome, and we have to make sure those fit in the budget and curb cuts and make sure everything is ADA compliant so it's accessible to everyone. But that's
But
something
that's
exciting.
huge for our public spaces in the backs of those
Mhm.
buildings. So when we think about, the new courtyard where Wind Down Wednesdays are going to be, and the patio, Big O, where Tossin Tuesdays will be, it's imperative that people can cross there. It's social district back in that area, so people can take their drinks from one quad to the next.
Mhm.
So I am excited about the crosswalks. I never thought I'd be excited about crosswalks, but
Yeah.
They're near and dear to our hearts.
yes,
With
yes.
us
And
running.
we need to get to the market,
Yeah, running back and forth from concerts to the market. I was actually thinking about this as we were coming here because our parking lot is under construction. And so I was like, it would be so nice to have a crosswalk
Yeah.
here to get across the street to where we're parking now, which would be in generally the same space that we're talking about,
It
right?
would be close, yeah.
Yeah. So maybe we could do a temporary one for the next month while we're
I mean, we have
in
those areas where
construction.
people aren't supposed to be stopping at the traffic lights and blocking intersections. So
Yeah.
there's been
Yeah.
that's basically the areas I've been trying to focus on. So if we do like a hatch pattern with a walkway through it, and that's just paint, like it's pretty cheap. The problem is
The curbs.
it's the curb
Yeah.
cuts. Like you need to make sure that if someone is in a wheelchair or a walker, they can still utilize that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the main. That's my main concern. We also have options for Centennial Park,
Right. Right.
of fixing up the gazebo with some
There's so much to
funding,
come. It's going
and
to be great.
hopefully put a ramp on the on the existing gazebo to help with obviously more ADA compliancy issues.
Yeah. And
So-
one of the biggest things that you guys do, though, that we haven't mentioned, but we did mention it in our last podcast, is all of the signage and facade grants. So, design
Right.
committee is really tasked with making the recommendation to the board of how much we should give to each business. And I mean, a lot goes into it. Do you want to talk a little bit about that process?
Yeah. Kelly and Kimberly are funny because they will accept an application like 2 hours before our meeting, which is sometimes.
We're people.
Yeah, I know.
We're here for the
I know.
people.
So the sometimes that's like, wow, okay, I guess we're doing this, and I'll change the agenda last minute. But other than that, no,
I'm
it's
sorry,
great.
did you say you were not type A earlier?
Yeah.
Just
I just like
clarifying.
to say hi to people.
I'm just trying to, I'm just trying to get my meeting minutes in on time. So, anyways, with that being said, though, there is the community knows that they can go to the DDA and basically get help in a grant setting, whether it's facade or sign. And we have a good, as I said before, we have a really good committee. We look at everything and make educated recommendation. Usually it's for an amount not to exceed, so we are conscious of the budget. And, we're just recommendary, but it's nice because we have, Catherine Catherine and Sue usually make the two. Usually are the two that are helping with the recommendations. So we appreciate that. But everyone else chips in. We all add our 10 cents. I mean, there's times that it wasn't. They need to go back to the drawing board, and we make that decision kind of to recommend that they don't proceed until they change a couple things, and not heavy-handedly. I think we all have the best interests of the DDA and the Village of Oxford at heart.
And I think you guys are willing to preserve the historic nature of the downtown too. And that's one thing that I love about the committee is everybody seems to respect that and want to continue that, which is a big deal because if we had a bunch of people here who didn't care or just wanted change, it would be a lot different and we'd see a lot of different things going on in the buildings downtown.
Well, even for the acceptance of not wanting change, there's an issue there too. So it's a fine balance that we have to do because as the village becomes this, as Kelly has said, this Hallmark movie setting, which is good. I mean, it's
better
quaint,
be.
it's picture perfect. But the thing is that at the same time, to be able to keep that quality of the product that you're putting out there, which is the village itself and how it looks and the retailers and the restaurants and basically being able to keep that as it is, but still allow it to grow.
And
allow
also
it
be
to flourish.
modern, a little
Right.
more modern, because I think, you have different groups of people. You have the group that really leans toward the historical piece of it, and then you have the group that wants to see more modern pieces kind of come in and, change it a little
That's
bit.
a
So
hard balance.
it is.
It's
yeah.
a hard balance, especially when Kimberly and I are getting about 1,000 emails and phone calls a week with, a lot of those being opinions
Yeah.
of what should be happening or
Right.
what
Or
something should
should
look
not
like.
be
Yeah.
happening.
And you're not
Yeah.
and you're not alone in that. Being my role at the county, I deal with at least 62 of our communities in Oakland County, and then we technically 88 if you count the ones that border the county. So that is not unheard of. I mean, obviously, squeaky wheel gets the grease, as cliche as that sounds. People are if they have a way to access you, they will.
Let's take our
So-
email and our phone number off everything.
We've
But it's-
reduced our touch
Right.
points.
But it's not all bad. I mean, sometimes people do have glaring concern that should be addressed. I know at the design committee level, we've heard a couple of them come through and like, oh yeah, we didn't think about that, or we should think about that, or we need to do something about that. And that's you just have to kind of pivot in those moments. At least show like that you're trying to make a positive difference to, even if it's just a small group of people. Maybe the complaint in large is going to be something that is a bigger complaint down the road.
Sure.
So the future planning is unique to the design committee.
Putting the planning piece in there.
Yeah.
One of the biggest things that came out of design committee this year, and we actually applied for an award through the Main Street program for it, is the lighting on the rooftops, which so excited to see finally come alive. I think we've talked about it now for about 2.5 years. Man, you get to be chair on the design committee and it happens. What the heck?
Oh, that's not me.
Yeah,
a
you really
group-
didn't have anything to do with it.
It's a group effort, and it's funny because even as design committee members, like certain ones of us will notice differences or things that we want changed. So like originally we only did like the horizontal and
Yep.
not the vertical, and the vertical completes it obviously. But the other thing is that the facades in downtown are very unique, and they go in and out and up and down. And so trying to get the light to capture all that, and good job to Excel for
Yeah,
being
they were
being
awesome.
able to capture all that. I mean, ideally, I would love to put lights over M24, which I think I've told you about because they have done it in other communities over MDOT highways, and I don't know why they won't let us do it. So
MDOT, if you're listening,
yeah.
please
Yes, please let us
heed
do it.
our request.
yeah, and we have a smaller downtown than Port Huron where you allowed it.
For
and,
example.
For example.
Mhm.
Anyways,
I'm
so
gonna
we have
cut your mics off, you two.
we have we just have aspirations, and I think that would be neat, and I don't think it's going to cause an issue. But you do notice like what's unique about that outline um, project that we did was you do notice it, and you
Yeah.
get
Mhm.
different angles depending on how you come in because of Washington M24 Washington, how it's on an angle, and so it looks different depending on what intersection you're at. It's unique. Like sometimes you don't realize a building had a certain. I mean, that's the architect
It really
or
does draw
design in
your
me,
eye
to
up.
the
Mhm.
parapets and
Yep.
stuff. Yeah. So yeah, that was awesome. And as I said, like when I was at the Scarecrow Fest, and that was before the lighting project, but there was people here from all over. There was people here from Sterling Heights. There's people here from Clio that
Mhm.
I ran into. Like they were just happy to be here, and it was a beautiful weekend
Oh, it
too.
was so
Yeah, it was
nice.
And
so
they
nice.
asked, they're like, "Where's a good place to eat?" Now I have my favorite.
What did you recommend?
I already know.
I'm at the tap.
I was gonna say.
I'm at the tap like once a week almost.
There you go.
But
VIP.
He texted me the other day. He goes, "Hey, did you notice that the tap got new bar
yeah,
stools?"
because
And I'm like,
I was out of town. I was out of town for
Uh-huh.
work, so I didn't notice. And then what they did was they put the old chairs at the other tables, so now everyone has a back.
Oh, well, that's fun. That is
Yeah.
good.
So good, kudos to them.
for us
And
old
so
folk, we gotta lean back.
So I'm not lying, but I did stay there a little bit long. I mean, I was like the last person out the other night.
So speaking of that, Scott, what do you do in your free time? Why did you pick Oxford to live
Okay.
and play and kind of work?
Okay. So I grew up in Brighton, Michigan, and my dad moved us out there from Livonia when I was like 6. And Brighton in the 80s and 90s was remind me a lot of Oxford now. Small town. It isn't anymore, but it was at that time. And Oxford still is. And I think part of the reason is that Oxford doesn't have a freeway running through it, which is helpful, and not helpful when I'm trying to get down to Nova.
Right.
And get down there in a fortnight. So, and then my wife, she got a job. She's a school psychologist for Oxford Community Schools, and so we were living in Grand Blanc. We had a beautiful ranch out there, but um, we just didn't have that community, young people. There was a lot of 60-year-olds and 90-year-olds in our neighborhood, and the 90-year-olds were one of our neighbors. They were like 90, like, oh, we saw to a really nice young couple, and they were like 65.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, I guess that is a really nice young couple. But anyways, so we wanted somewhere, and then I was traveling a lot for work because I was a consultant with Roe at the time. So we needed someone close to the kids, and I had a preemie and a 2-year-old or whatever we had. So we decided to move out to Oxford, and I had driven through Oxford growing up. We had a cottage in Caseville, so sometimes I'd come down this way, depending on who I was dating that lived this way. What?
Nothing. Go on. Do
So, anyways,
you want to do any shout outs real quick?
no shout outs there. I mean, I'm friends with all my exes on my Facebook. So it's fine.
I think that's the song. All my exes live in Texas.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, so we love it, and we've embraced it, and obviously, even through the hard times, we're still here. We're here to stay. I don't see us going anywhere. And then, so yeah, I love it, and I'm glad I can be part of. I'm glad I can be part of certain things. Obviously, with my job, I have to be careful of what I can participate in. Like, I would love to be on I could be on a planning commission, but I can't because I review basically the stuff that comes out of the planning
Yeah.
commission. So if I lived in a different county, or if I worked for a different county, I'd be okay.
Mhm.
But I don't have that opportunity. So I'm glad I can help out where I can here. And then Kelly, our kids are in the same first grade. seventh
First grade. You look at me like, is that right?
Sorry, I was
What
told there'd
grade?
be no math today.
There
Yes.
is none. So what do you do in your free time then?
My free time, so we have a boat. My wife and I have a boat on Lake Orion that we like to go.
Gasp.
I also COVID. I turned my garage into a bar, so that's kind of like a hangout.
You have a
It's a
Google,
social club.
Yeah, it's a social club.
Yeah,
You don't
it's
want to
a-
promote your
I
side
don't wanna
business?
I
Okay.
don't want to promote it.
He
Okay.
It's a-
doesn't need randos
yeah.
showing up at his house.
It's a speakeasy.
It's a speakeasy.
Yeah.
You have to be
No, but it's
personally
excellent.
invited.
The people, my neighbors and friends. It's basically a third, fourth living space, and it has access to the front yard, so we can just like watch the kids play. We have a pretty good sized front yard that the kids love to play soccer and football in.
You like
So
the wings at the tap, yeah?
yep, tap wings, extra grilled. Usually I get 25, and then I have a ton in my freezer.
Oh,
And
You can do that?
yeah. The only reason why I bought a air fryer was because of tap wings.
oh,
Because what you do is you just
That's
put a little
cool.
bit of canola oil on them. If you don't freeze them, you just put them in there for 5 to 7 minutes,
okay,
depending on how dark you want them. And you put some canola oil on them, and they're perfect.
okay.
And then if you freeze them, you got to put them in like maybe 10 minutes or something.
So we're getting recipe advice today on
I
our
know.
podcast. I love this new
Yeah.
section of our.
Yeah. Should we just put this in
Haven't-
every show?
I think so. I
mean,
this
I like-
idea.
I like 24th Street. I like the
you
Ox.
don't
I
have
love
to go through 'em,
Sullivan's.
It's fine. We all have a favorite. It's
Yeah.
okay.
Sullivan's, like I have Kilkenny on tap right now, and that's what I drink. I either drink Redbreast or Kilkenny at Sullivan's. Those are my two go-tos.
He knows. He knows. We're not allowed to share our favorites because
No.
everybody's our
Of
favorite.
course,
But you're allowed.
you are. So do you? I thought I heard Do you coach?
I do coach.
What do you coach?
Do you coach well? Let's just ask that.
So, with my son, I coached basketball this year with some of our friends. I have a couple really great guys. I'm not going to name drop, but I got some really good guy friends, and all of our kids are the same ages. So we get to coach a lot together, which is great because a lot of us travel for work and have night meetings and stuff. So there's always a coach there. And then for softball, this is my 4th year coaching softball or t-ball. It was t-ball, and now it's softball, and it's kid pitch this year, and that's been great. We have a great team. The girls are wonderful. They listen, and I recruited Kelly to
One more
come.
thing that I'm recruited for.
Yeah. Well, she came and helped the girls learn how to pitch because this is kid pitch this year.
Mhm.
So we're just hoping no one gets hit with a ball in the face,
Right.
or no one charges the mound.
That was my first recommendation. Don't hit your friend in the face.
I
Yeah.
think that's
Did
great
you know I used to
advice.
be a softball pitcher?
I learned this recently.
Okay.
I
Me too.
did. I know. Is she good?
Yeah.
I didn't
I learned
show
some
them how to
things.
pitch, but I mean, I taught everybody.
So, anyways, just to put this plug in, that a bunch of the girls came up to us, and it's Kyle and I who are coaching. So it's 2 dads, and they're like, "Is Coach Kelly going to come back? She was great."
Aw.
It's
That's
like-
sweet. I have to
Yeah.
tell Kimberly,
and then they thanked
though,
us. They thanked us for bringing her in.
Smart
I mean,
girls.
Yeah.
No, but I have to tell you this. So they're introducing me in this circle of girls, and they're 4th and 5th graders,
Yeah.
so the eye rolls are present. And this one little one, the tiniest one on the team, just is hilarious. And they said, we don't always know what we're doing, so we brought Kelly in to do the pitching, and she's like, "Yep, we know that."
But it's funny because some of these girls have been on our team, I mean, for the last 4 years.
Yeah.
Like the parents
Mhm.
because there's certain coaches out there, obviously in sporting, you know how it gets. It gets very competitive,
Yeah.
and parents like to interject and stuff like that. But we've been blessed that our softball parents have been just so easygoing,
Yeah.
and we're just donating our time basically.
Yeah.
But the girls they're good girls.
Yeah.
They
they're
were
good
good.
athletes.
That's
They're really good
fun.
girls. It's funny though, because I feel like I have to say yes to volunteering
Yeah.
because like Scott, I had 2 other committee members come to me in like the last 2 weeks and asked me to volunteer for something, and I can't say no because you guys volunteer for
I was
us.
just gonna say
And I'm
you
like-
ask a lot of some people.
Yes.
Scott
so
being
I'm
one of
like,
them.
okay, I guess I can give my
Yeah.
time back.
That's good though.
Yeah, so we'll hopefully utilize you next week, and then you'll be done. 'Cause
I'll
then
be
we'll
done.
then we
Done.
have games, so we don't
Until
have any.
the next thing.
Season.
Yeah.
So, anyways, it's been fun, but on those nights I don't, you don't go home and have a bourbon, because you don't want to smell like bourbon.
Oh, before. Got it. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You save that until after.
Or the next day. Yeah.
Oh, that's very responsible of you.
Awesome. Oh my gosh. Well, we have to shut this down. So, Scott, thank you for coming on. Thanks for talking
Yes.
about Design Committee. We appreciate all of your hard work and
Yeah.
just teaching us so much because honestly, like It seems like all fun and games here, but you are so
Oh.
brilliant, and we have gotten a ton accomplished since bringing you on. So thank you.
Oh, thanks.
I
Thanks for
just
having
want
me.
to note that this is recorded so you can refer back to this because this is the nicest you have been to Scott since I've met you. So this is just
It's in my contract. I can't be
bookmark
mean on
this.
air.
No, I love it. No, we do. I mean, I tell you all the time, we could not do a quarter of the things that we do without your help. So thank you very much.
Well, thank you. Yeah, they run a gauntlet at that DDA.
Yeah, we
I
do.
go in there. It's
Cut
yeah.
his mic off now.
All right, and we're off.
And we're off.
Oh my gosh.
I
so much
love
fun.
having fun guests on the show.
Well, Scott has a near and dear place in our hearts, I think, because he comes to visit quite a bit and he helps so much volunteering and with the committees. And he's so entertaining that he spends a lot of time in our office. So
Yes.
we
do get
we're
things
like-
done, though.
We're like the Threes Company. Is that what we were for Halloween?
We did pitch
Yeah,
that out.
we
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
That was fun.
So what else do we have coming up?
No.
That'll be our new theme song.
Nope.
Yep. Okay.
So what's new since our last podcast?
Well, I know we're double recording today, and we did talk about a lot.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think that one thing that we should probably talk about is maybe the historic project that's coming up that
Oh, with the
we're
interns?
starting to. Yeah. So the
Yeah.
interns are definitely going to be a
Yeah.
huge help.
Yep.
But it's really us getting it off the ground. We took reference from our friends in Ligurian for a historic project, and we've been talking about it for 2 years. And
Mhm.
usually we get things done, I feel like, way faster, but there's so much history that goes into this one.
Yeah.
And that's because we are targeting historic buildings and homes in our downtown. And then we're really looking to the museum, Drew Holt, on this project to come up with the history of these buildings and what was there prior to the current businesses, who built them, and then to hopefully find some really great old pictures of them. And then we're going to create plaques that live on these buildings and have QR codes where somebody can scan them and go to that entire history of the building. I really hope that it increases the walkability of downtown, but also gets kids involved because I
Yeah.
feel like so many kids miss out on the history of their small towns. You know, we go over so much of that in school, but not necessarily for where you live.
Sure. And I think we are blessed to have the museum right across the street from our office.
Yes.
They do such a phenomenal job of tracking that and sharing it with the community. I just, we're so busy that I don't have the luxury of just following sites frequently, but I did notice that they do like a Tuesday, like they'll
Yes.
throw out a picture of a building and have like clues, and then the following week they'll give the location. So that's been really cool. I thought that was a really neat thing that they do.
Yeah, so I'm hoping that this project with the QR codes can add to their site, but then also we can have all of that live on our site as well.
Yeah. Do you want to tease what we're doing, what we just got approved at our last board meeting for where we're going with the DDA in the future?
Oh, sure. Okay, sorry. I was like, that was 2 weeks ago. I can't think that far
sorry.
back.
I know.
So one of the things that we've been talking about over the past year that I'm very passionate about is creating a 501 within the DDA. And within this, you did a ton of the work on this, so thank you. But part of it is, having a separate board of directors. But this is a way for us to create an additional revenue stream within the DDA so that we can continue everything that we're doing, but add on additional projects that really, it's a dream for us to grow the way we are. But our budget is so slim for a DDA. So this is a way for us to have additional funding where we don't have to wait, 8 to 10 years for a bigger project. We can do that now.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to talk a little bit about the process that you went through?
Sure. So we were lucky for us. A lot of the DDAs in the surrounding communities have already gone through this process, so we have resources that we could utilize already in place. So it was just a matter of reaching out to an attorney that is specialized in this area and going through that process. So we've initiated that. And we're looking at, I think at this point, maybe 4 to 5 months, and we should be able to have our new official nonprofit arm of the DDA.
Yeah, and I'm excited because the whole process, it's not that costly, but it does cost a couple
Sure.
$1,000s. But we're able to utilize the tech dollars that we get from the Main Street program at the
Mhm.
county. And that really helped us to be able to launch this and to pretty much sell it to our board
Yeah.
and say, hey, this isn't coming out of our budget.
Right. And also training for those that are going to be more involved because, as you mentioned, we need to have a new board of directors. We need to have new officers of this new nonprofit. And so making sure people understand what they're getting into, what the responsibilities are, and kind of get them ready to go for when we're ready to launch this.
Yeah, somebody said the other day, and I had to laugh because they said, you know that this is going to cause more work for you two. And I just laughed because I'm like, yes, but
It's worth
it's for the
it.
community because we
Yeah.
know that this can make a huge impact, especially in the long run. But yeah, it's going to be some work up front and all the filing and the paperwork that goes into each
Yeah.
year, but I think it's going to be great.
Yeah, I think it's really exciting. So,
Awesome. Well, I will be out of town for the next
yeah.
week in Bama National Conference. So, giving
Yeah.
Oxford a shout out to every Main Street program across the U.S. will be there. And then we'll be back, and we have to target some folks for May
Yeah.
and come up with some of our new guests, but it should be good.
And you're talking about Washington Square, right?
Yeah, so
At
I
the
was
conference?
chosen for a proposal that we submitted, and that is taking empty space and making place. So I
that's
got kind of cute on the words there,
Yeah.
but really it is, right? We took a dirt parking lot and we made it into a place for all the fun things that we have planned this summer for the wonderful markets that our market master over here plans. And I'm excited to just share that entire process, but also some of the pain points that we went through
Sure.
with that process so that if other people are looking to do that, they don't have to go through those things.
Right. So that'll be fun. We can't wait to hear back
It'll be
after
great.
your return. And
Hold down the fort without me.
Scott, are you free next week?
Oh gosh, you guys will get nothing done.
Party at the DDA
That's
offices.
right. Have a good week,
All
everyone.
right. Bye, guys.